Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome once more to our daily Bible reflections in this Holy Week. We continue this morning our exploration of Mark's Gospel, and today I'd like to share with you chapter 14, verses 53 through to 65, Jesus at the Council. But before I do so, I just want to reflect on how sometimes in these current times life can seem unfair. It is unfair that we are currently have to deal with the challenge of the coronavirus. It is unfair that some people seem to put themselves first to the exclusion or even to the injury of others. It's unfair that some seem to be more open to catching the virus while others appear to be almost immune as they go about their day-to-day lives without thinking of other people. Life is indeed unfair. I'd like us to hold on to that thought as we hear these verses from Scripture. Jesus before the council. They took Jesus to the high priest's home, where the leading priests, the elders and the teachers of religious law had gathered. Meanwhile, Peter followed him at a distance and went right into the high priest's courtyard. There he sat with the guards, warming himself by the fire. Inside, the leading priests and the entire high council were trying to find evidence against Jesus so they could put him to death, but they couldn't find any. Many false witnesses spoke against him, but they contradicted each other. Finally, some men stood up and gave this false testimony. We heard him say, "I will destroy this temple made with human hands, and in 3 days I will build another made without human hands." But even then, they didn't get their story straight. Then the high priest stood up before the others and asked Jesus, "Well, are you going to answer these charges? What do you have to say for yourself?" But Jesus was silent and made no reply. And the high priest asked him, "Are you the Messiah, the Son of the Blessed One?" Jesus said, "I am, and you will see the Son of Man seated in the place of power at God's right hand and coming on the clouds of heaven." Then the high priest tore his clothing to show his horror and said, "Why do we need other witnesses? You have all heard his blasphemy. What is your verdict?" "Guilty," they all cried. "He deserves to die." And some of them began to spit at him, and they blindfolded him and beat him with their fists. "Prophesy to us," they jeered, and the guards slapped him as they took him away. We give thanks to God for our verses from Scripture. May God add his blessing to our hearing of his word. I think it's worth remembering, friends, at this time, that whatever our own sense of injustice, unfairness towards the world at the moment, these feelings too have been shared by Christ. He knew anxiety as we know anxiety. He knew injustice as so often now we feel there to be injustice in the world. And yet again we are reminded that Easter morning follows the darkness of Good Friday. The dawn will break if we have faith. So my message once more for this Tuesday of Holy Week is have faith. The sense of unfairness and injustice of it all is real. But know that through Christ, we too can all come through. Have a good day today. And dear friends, I look forward to you being with us all tomorrow. Amen.